You're back in the shop with me this morning, guys. And this week on the channel, we're going to do something extra special. Now, a few weeks ago, we went out to Lubbock to see our good friend Ashley. She has two kids, Cora and Mason. Mason is this spry little 7-year-old, and he asked me, hey, do you do woodworking? I was like, you bet I do. I said, Mason, what would you like me to make you? And at first we settled on a rubber band gun, but the next day he had thought about it and he said, hey, do you think you can make me a Minecraft axe? So stick around. I'm Stoner Ericson from Ericson Design Company, and let's build something. Ta-da! Hopping straight into this, we're going to grab a piece of scrap 2x12, and we're going to joint one edge, and then we're going to move it over the table saw. You can see that the little dogs, the puppy dogs, are out in the shop with me this afternoon. It's always good to have them out in the shop. I'm going to set my saw up to 1 inch, and I'm going to make 1 inch by 1 inch squares. I don't know if I'm the only one that does this, but I always double check my measurement with my tape on my saw. It's just a habit I got into when I worked in the cabinet shop. I'm going to run these through and I'm going to let them fall right off the back of the table saw. It's just a whole lot safer to let them drop off than to try to run my hand across behind the blade and pick them up. It's just a higher margin for error. I'll trim off the other side and I'll end up with 1 by 1 inch sticks. Over at the chop saw, I'm going to clean up one end and measure back 1 inch. And I'm going to lay this up against the saw, line it up, and I'm going to mark a line actually on the chop saw so that I can bring my piece right to that line so I can get consistent cuts. I really started cruising here, but I was having to run my saw all the way down through it and let it stop. So I thought I'd come up with a little bit better kind of system. So I took some CA glue and some blue tape, and I took a block and I glued it straight to the actual saw bed, the saw table. And this actually did not work really well. It bound up and kicked out the actual little piece. They were flying all over the place. So I had to go back to the way I was originally doing it before. And luckily the saw mark was already on there. Once I had all the pieces cut, I used some blue tape and reversed it so the sticky side would be up. So as I lay this out, it doesn't slide around on me. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this off a picture that me and Mason looked up online, and having this tape kind of hold it down makes it a lot easier to lay it out. Next, I've found some different colored paints that I think will match. Now, Mason says that the blues and the whites, they're diamonds in the game. I've never played Minecraft, so I'm not really fluent with how it works, but so I have some different colors of blues, and I have black for the outline, and I have this orange, and the orange is going to be the center strip of the actual handle that'll go all the way through the axe. I'll go ahead and arrange those and mark those with which color they're going to be painted. Then I'll head outside and give them a spray paint. Now, it was rather windy this day, so I had to kind of work from one side to the other, otherwise the paint would blow into the different colors. After about an hour of drying, I was able to handle these pieces, so I started to slowly lay it out. Now, I don't know what was going on in my brain, but this really kind of carfunkled me in a way, and I had to kind of look at a picture and see how I was going to lay it out. I don't know why, it just didn't make much sense in my brain. But as I put it together, it looks really well. I don't really like the orange, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut just natural wood pieces for the actual center of the handle. Next, I'm going to take some parchment paper or wax paper. I use this a lot when I do glue ups, and I'm going to be using super glue to start here, which didn't work well enough for me. And then I switched to a 5-minute epoxy, and that way nothing that I glue will stick to the parchment paper. I can always get it off. So I'm going to take these pieces and glue them together. If you like fun and creative videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Do it, and do it now. Plus, leave me a comment. I would love to hear your comments, and I'll totally comment back. Actually, leave me a comment that just says Minecraft. I'll add those up, and if enough people like this, I'll do like a sword or a shovel from Minecraft as well. Now, one of the things that's important that I would go back and redo is I wouldn't cut any of the blocks to size on the chop saw or miter saw. I would actually use the table saw and I would set up a jig with my crosscut sled to where they were all the exact same. I didn't do that, so I'm actually struggling here because two sides of them are actually right at 1 inch, and then they vary from 1 inch to 15/16 to 13/16. So that's a mistake that I made.